All right, we are about to pull back the curtain on a parasite that might be living a lot closer than you think. It's incredibly common, it's widespread, but what's really amazing is just how clever it is. It's almost like it has a secret plan for survival. This is the story of Toxocara. So let's start with a bit of a mystery here. This is a story about a hidden connection, a secret that links some of the most ordinary and even happiest parts of our lives. I mean, think about it. A new puppy is pure joy, right? And a playground is a place for fun. But what if I told you both of these things can be epicenters for a parasitic infection? One that has absolutely mastered the art of being in the right place at the wrong time. And the craziest part, the danger is completely invisible to the naked eye. Okay, so here's the official name for this danger. Visceral larva migrans. Yeah, I know, it sounds super complicated, maybe even a little scary. But trust me, by the end of this explainer, you're going to understand exactly what this is, what causes it, and how a tiny little worm manages to pull it all off. All right, it's time to meet the mastermind behind this whole operation. And you might be surprised. The culprit isn't some rare, exotic creature you've never heard of. It's actually one of the most common roundworms on the entire planet. Say hello to Toxocara canis. People often call it the arrow-headed worm, and you can kind of see why, right? Those wing-like extensions on its head, called alae, give it that distinctive look. They're not just for show either. They're a key feature that helps us identify this incredibly successful parasite.
But honestly, the real genius of Toxocara isn't what it looks like. It's all about its life cycle. This is not a simple one-size-fits-all kind of plan. Oh no, this parasite actually adapts its strategy based on who it's infecting. It is a total masterclass in parasitic evolution.
Okay, so here's where it gets really clever. The worm's journey changes dramatically depending on the age of its dog host. So if it infects a young puppy, under 3 months old, the larvae basically make a beeline for the intestines to grow up and become adults. But in an adult dog, nope, the larvae go into hiding. They just embed themselves in the body's tissues and wait. They wait for the perfect moment. And that perfect moment? Well, this brings us to one of its most brilliant and kinda sneaky strategies. When an adult female dog who's carrying these dormant larvae gets pregnant, the hormonal changes act like a wake-up call. The larvae mobilize, they cross the placenta, and they infect the puppies while they're still in the womb. It's basically a prenatal heist. This parasite makes sure the next generation of worms has a home before the puppies are even born. How wild is that? And it all happens fast. Just look at this timeline. For a puppy that was infected before birth, the race is on from day one. The larvae are already in their lungs. And in just 3 weeks, they've matured into adults in the intestine and are already laying millions of eggs. So, right from birth, a brand new puppy immediately becomes a little factory, just pumping out parasite eggs into the environment. But wait, there's more. Infecting puppies before they're born isn't its only trick. The parasite also uses something called a paratenic host. The best way to think about it is like a living, moving waiting room for the parasite's larval stage. It's a temporary stopover. And this is just another way it uses the whole food chain to its advantage. An infective egg gets eaten by, say, a mouse. The larva hatches and then goes dormant in that mouse's tissues. The life cycle is paused until a dog comes along and eats that mouse. The larva just wakes up and, boom, it's right where it wants to be, in the dog's intestine. No big migration needed. It's a super efficient shortcut. Okay, so we've seen its secret plan. It's pretty ingenious, right? But what does this actually do to the animals it infects? This parasite isn't just a quiet passenger. It can cause some pretty significant harm. For puppies, especially, where these worms can mature in huge numbers, this can be really, really bad. You'll see things like the classic potbelly look, diarrhea. They just don't grow right. And in the worst case scenarios, it can cause a blockage in their intestines, which can be fatal. It's literally stealing all their nutrients right when they need them the most. And it's not just dogs we have to worry about. A very close relative, called Toxocara vetulirorum, does something similar in cattle and buffalo. And for farmers, this is a huge deal. It's a major cause of calf deaths in many parts of the world, causing terrible diarrhea and emaciation. It's a big problem for animal welfare and the economy. So that's what happens in its normal hosts. But what happens when this parasite gets lost? When it makes a mistake and ends up in the wrong one, like a human? Well, this is where the story gets really serious. And who gets infected most often? It's little kids, usually between 1 and 5 years old. And it makes perfect sense when you think about it, right? That's the age where kids are exploring the world with their hands and their mouths, playing in the dirt, in a sandbox, and then not washing their hands. That's the main way it happens. Hey, remember that term from the beginning, visceral larva migrans? Well, this is it. In humans, the larvae can't complete their life cycle. So they get lost, they wander aimlessly through the body's organs, the liver, the lungs, even the brain, causing inflammation wherever they go. This leads to things like fever, coughing, and stomach pain. Your body is basically fighting this invisible invader that it just can't pin down. But it gets even more devastating. Sometimes, and it only takes one, a single larva wanders into the eye. This is called ocular larva migraines, or OLM. It can cause serious inflammation, scarring on the retina, and in some cases, permanent vision loss. And what's just heartbreaking is that sometimes the damage can look like a rare type of eye cancer, which has tragically led to kids having their eye unnecessarily removed. Okay, so that's all pretty scary stuff. But here's the good news. Now that we know its secret plan, we know exactly how to stop it. We can build a really effective defense to protect our pets and our families. For our pets, the defense plan is actually pretty straightforward. The number one thing, regular deworming. You've got to start puppies on it at just 2 weeks old. It's that important. Treating pregnant dogs can also help. And simple hygiene, like cleaning up pet waste from your yard right away, means you're stopping the eggs from even getting into the soil in the first place. Super important. And for people, the defense is even simpler. It all comes down to one word: hygiene. We're talking about good old-fashioned hand washing with soap and water after you've been playing outside, digging in the garden, and always before you eat. Covering sandboxes when they aren't being used, and just teaching kids why hand washing is so important. These are simple but powerful ways to break that chain of transmission. So there you have it. We've totally unraveled the secret and frankly ingenious plan of Toxocara. It's a pretty powerful reminder that these incredible survival strategies are playing out all around us. The big takeaway here is really simple. Knowing this stuff is your best defense, because now you know the parasite's secret, and that gives you the power to make sure it never becomes a part of your family's story.